Hello and welcome to The Human Curious, where we unravel the mysteries hidden in plain sight. If you're fascinated by ancient wonders, unsolved puzzles, and the secrets of our past, you've just found your new favorite place on YouTube. Before we dive into today's mind-bending exploration, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and share this video with your fellow curious minds. Your support helps us keep the quest for knowledge alive and thriving. Now, let's embark on a journey across time and stone where the questions are as colossal as the monuments themselves. Across the globe, ancient megaliths stand as silent riddles, massive stones shaped and moved with a precision that defies explanation. At Baalbek in Lebanon, stones weighing over 800 tons were somehow quarried and stacked in Peru. Women's interlocking blocks fit so tightly, no mortar was needed. These feats baffle modern engineers, challenging the limits of what we believe ancient people could achieve. In Indonesia, Gunung Padang's step pyramid may date back tens of thousands of years, hinting at civilizations lost to time. Such sites aren't isolated. They form a global pattern from France's Karnak stones to Japan's Yonaguni ruins. The official story credits simple tools and sheer manpower, but the scale and precision suggest we're missing something crucial. What if these structures are clues urging us to reconsider who or what built them? What if the builders of these megaliths weren't like us at all? Imagine a world shaped by giants, beings of immense stature for whom moving 100-ton stones was effortless. This theory reframes our origins. The giants weren't just builders, but the original architects of Earth. They seeded the planet, shaped its landscapes, and perhaps even designed our DNA. Our myths and legends, dismissed as fantasy, may be distorted memories of these ancient titans. If true, we are not accidental masters of Earth, but inheritors of a forgotten legacy. The evidence is etched in stone and whispered in our oldest stories. What if Earth was seeded by giants? The seeding theory envisions giants as cosmic engineers, arriving on a chaotic young Earth with a mission to create, not conquer. They stabilized continents, shaped the atmosphere, and set the stage for life. Earth's perfect conditions weren't luck, they were engineered. These giants were terraformers, their handiwork so vast we mistake it for nature itself. Their purpose? To plant a garden, a living legacy, not for domination, but for creation's sake. We live within their masterpiece, unaware of the effort behind our world's design. The giants were not monsters, but the primordial parents of our planet. With Earth stabilized, the giants became master biologists, transforming barren land into a thriving biosphere. Life's genesis, according to this theory, was a managed process. Organic molecules introduced, evolution guided. The Cambrian explosion, not a fluke, but the giants' biological experiment blooming. Nature's intricate designs, spirals, feathers, symbiosis, may be signatures of their artistry. They tended their planetary garden, ensuring balance and resilience. Today's biodiversity is their living legacy. We walk among their stone ruins, but live within their greatest creation, the web of life. If giants engineered the biosphere, their final act was humanity itself. The seeding theory suggests our evolution was guided, not random. Missing links are moments of direct intervention. Our DNA's mysteries, like junk regions, could be dormant codes from our creators. The sudden leap in human creativity may have been an activation, giants gifting us consciousness. We are not just inhabitants, but heirs, custodians of a cosmic garden. Myths of gods shaping man may be fragmented memories of our true genesis. Our story is not just of survival, but of inheritance from the architects of Earth. The seeding theory suggests the giants built megalithic structures as a final gift to humanity. The great pyramids, henges, and stone circles scattered across the globe might be pieces of a forgotten planetary technology. Think of these structures as a planetary control system. The global distribution of these megaliths suggests they form an interconnected grid. The giants were leaving behind an automated system to continue tending the garden after they were gone. Our early ancestors were simply the first beneficiaries. The megaliths are the fingerprints left behind by the architects of our world. They challenge us to consider a past far more magnificent and mysterious than we have ever been told. If colossal beings shaped our world, their memory would linger in our stories. Almost every culture on every continent tells stories of a time when giants walked the earth. In ancient Greece, they were the Titans. In Norse mythology, the Jotun. The Hindu Puranas speak of the Daityas and Danavas. The Book of Genesis speaks of the Nephilim. These stories seem to describe the same beings, ancient, powerful, enormous, existing before humanity. It is another thing entirely for the entire world to independently invent the same monster. They are memories, distorted recollections of our creators. Once we shared this world with giants. Our myths are the last vestiges of a forgotten history. Myths and stones. Reveal the fingerprints of giants in megalithic structures worldwide. Consider Baalbek's trilithon, with colossal blocks weighing hundreds of tons. In Egypt, granite boxes weigh up to 100 tons. The scale suggests builders with extraordinary capabilities. Myths and geological evidence weave a tapestry of a past where giants were the architects of the ancient world. A common misconception is that these massive structures must have been built for giants, that they were their houses, their temples, their tombs. But the seeding theory proposes that the megaliths were not built for giants, they were built by giants. This solves many riddles. Why would a 30-foot-tall being build a doorway only 6 feet high? They were building it for us, their smaller successors. Imagine a giant capable of lifting immense weights with ease. The construction of sites like Sacsayhuaman becomes far more logical. The giants were building a legacy for humanity. They constructed the foundational elements and then left the finishing touches for us. The Romans did not build the foundation. They inherited it just as we inherited their ruins. We are the inheritors living amongst the machinery of a forgotten age. The megaliths were not their homes, but their legacy, left for the benefit of a future race. They were functional installations, built by the giants as a final gift to the children of their world. Their greatest monuments might be the very landscapes we inhabit. The seeding theory invites us to see the hand of the architect in the curve of a mountain range, or the path of a river. If a race of beings possessed the power to terraform a planet, their work would be visible on a geological scale. What we perceive as natural features might be remnants of their colossal engineering projects. Could some mountain ranges be the eroded remains of ancient quarries? They treated the entire planet as their canvas. The Earth itself becomes the ultimate megalith. Quick question for you. If you could visit any ancient site in the world, which would it be? Would you stand at the foot of the Great Pyramids, wander through the mysterious stones of Stonehenge, or explore the enigmatic Nazca lines? Let us know in the comments below. We love hearing your thoughts, and your answers just might inspire our next deep dive. Exploring the theory of giants seeding Earth echoes within humanity's most sacred texts. Scriptures, guiding civilizations for millennia, contain passages that take on a startlingly physical dimension. The Qur'an speaks of past nations with immense physical prowess, unlike any that came after. These were people of a different order. The text calls us to reflect on their fate. It provides a framework for the existence of ancient peoples of incredible non-human scale. It is an ancient memory preserved in stories and stones. It suggests our mythical origins might be more deeply entwined with our spiritual histories than we have previously dared to consider. The sacred texts do not just describe these ancient, powerful peoples, they also provide a chilling explanation for their disappearance. The narrative is not one of natural cataclysms or gentle departure. It is a moral tale, a parable of power that leads to arrogance and arrogance that leads to destruction. The Qur'an describes the people of Ad as becoming tyrants on the earth. They saw their immense strength and unmatched creations not as a gift, but as a right. They believed their lofty pillars and their physical might made them invincible, accountable to no higher power. Their great power became their great moral failing, a theme that echoes the Greek concept of hubris. This scriptural account offers a compelling answer to one of our central questions. Where did the giants go? Perhaps they destroyed themselves, not through a war with each other, but through a war with the fundamental laws of the cosmos and morality. The texts narrate that because of their corruption and heedlessness, a devastating punishment was sent to them, a furious wind that wiped them from the face of the earth, leaving behind only their empty dwellings as a sign for those who would come after. Their magnificent structures, once symbols of their power, became monuments to their fall, silent warnings against the dangers of unchecked pride. This narrative provides a powerful philosophical layer to the seeding theory. It suggests that the giants' disappearance was not an accident of nature, but a consequence of their character. If they were indeed the architects of our world, perhaps they fell victim to the ultimate corruption. Believing themselves to be gods, they forgot the source of their own creative power. This story, repeated in different forms across many cultures, of a fall from a golden age could be the memory of this very event. The builders of the world were unbuilt by their own arrogance, a lesson etched into the collective memory of their smaller, humbler inheritors. Therefore, the legacy of the giants, as seen through this lens, is a dual one. On one hand, we have the inspiring physical legacy of their megalithic achievements, which spark our wonder and imagination. On the other hand, we have this profound moral legacy, a cautionary tale preserved in our scriptures. It reframes our mythical origins in a context of power, creation, and immense responsibility. It teaches that strength and intelligence are not ends in themselves, and that the greatest civilizations can be brought to ruin when they lose their moral compass and forget their place in the vast order of the universe. The scriptures imply immense knowledge accompanied the giant's stature. Building megaliths required engineering, mathematics, geology, and perhaps physics we're only now rediscovering. They were masters of a lost science, shaping the world. This lost knowledge, the science of giants, involved sacred geometry, acoustics, and earth energies. Their legacy might be woven into our consciousness, waiting to be reawakened. We are intellectual heirs, searching for a lost inheritance, a cosmic puzzle to solve. Unlocking their secrets unlocks our future potential. But if giants existed, their greatest threat may have come from within. History is filled with stories of civil war. Why would the giants be any different? A great war between rival factions could have erupted. Their battlefields would have been entire continents, their conflict unleashing energies that scarred the planet itself. Myths of many cultures seem to support this vision. These stories might be the traumatized memories of a real global conflict. The result would have been mutual annihilation. They may have unleashed forces they could no longer control. Could be the scars of this ancient war. The giants did not disappear. They were erased from existence by their own hand. Another theory suggests the giants were undone by a power greater than theirs, the planet or the cosmos. The Earth is dynamic. Supervolcanoes, pole shifts, or asteroid impacts could challenge even world builders. The most persistent memory of such an event is the story of a great flood found in cultures across the globe. Perhaps this global memory is of a flood that destroyed the giant civilization. A 30-foot-tall giant would have nowhere to hide from the wrath of an entire ocean. A major impact event could also be the culprit, triggering a global winter and mass extinction. The Great Disappearance was an extinction-level event. Perhaps the disappearance of the giants was not a sudden, violent event, but a slow, deliberate departure. Their work on Earth may have been a finite project with a specific goal: to stabilize the planet, engineer a biosphere, and seed it with intelligent, self-aware life. Once that goal was achieved, once humanity had been created and set upon its evolutionary path, their purpose here was fulfilled. They were architects and builders, not permanent residents. The time may have simply come for them to leave, to move on to their next project in another barren corner of the galaxy, leaving their terrestrial garden to grow on its own. This theory paints the giants not as victims or warriors, but as cosmic parents, watching their child take its first steps. They built the nursery, provided the foundational tools for survival, the planetary energy grid of megaliths, and then stepped away to allow for genuine, independent growth. To remain would be to interfere, to stunt our development by always providing the answers and solutions. True wisdom may have dictated that they had to leave for us to ever reach our full potential. Their departure was the ultimate act of faith in their creation, a belief that we could and should find our own way. How would they have left? If they possessed the technology to travel between stars to arrive here, they certainly possessed the means to depart. The myths and legends of sky gods who came down to teach humanity and then promised to return could be a memory of this very event. The fiery chariots or vimanas described in ancient texts might not have been allegorical vessels, but literal descriptions of the spacecraft they used. Their departure would have been a momentous event, seared into the memory of early humans who witnessed their creators ascending back into the heavens from whence they came, leaving us as the sole inheritors of this world. This idea of a planned departure is elegant and profound. It explains the lack of their remains, the sudden halt in megalithic construction, and the persistent myths of returning gods. The giants are not gone in the sense of being extinct, they are simply elsewhere. They left behind a living legacy in our DNA and a user's manual etched in stone and myth. A puzzle for us to solve that would eventually lead us to understand our true origins. They are the cosmic gardeners who, after planting a seed, moved on, trusting that it would one day grow into a mighty tree, capable of reaching for the stars on its own. The final and perhaps most intimate possibility is that the giants never left at all. Instead, they transformed. This theory suggests that we are their direct descendants, and the Great Disappearance was not an event, but a process, a slow generational decline in stature and power. The colossal beings of the primordial age slowly diminished over thousands of years, shrinking with each successive generation until they reached the human scale we know today. The giants of the first age became the heroes and demigods of the next, and eventually the ordinary men and women of our own time. The disappearance was a fading echo, not a sudden silence. What could cause such a change? It may have been environmental. Perhaps the Earth's atmosphere or gravitational field shifted subtly after their initial terraforming work was complete, creating conditions that favored smaller, more energy-efficient bodies. The planet they engineered for life in general may have slowly become less ideal for their own gigantic biology. Over millennia, natural selection would have favored smaller and smaller offspring who were better adapted to the new stable conditions of the world. The age of giants gave way to the age of humans through a slow evolutionary process of adaptation. This theory suggests that the giant DNA is not just a forgotten inheritance, it is the core of our own genetic code. The so-called junk DNA might hold the dormant genes for their size, longevity, and perhaps even their psychic or intellectual abilities. We are the giants, but in a recessed, dormant state. Occasionally, this ancient code might partially re-express itself, leading to the rare cases of gigantism we see in humans, or the flashes of inexplicable genius that change the course of our history. We are their children, carrying their entire legacy locked away within our very cells, a potential waiting to be reawakened. This is the most personal and profound explanation for their disappearance. It means our search for the giants is ultimately a search for ourselves. We look at the massive stones of Baalbek and Gunung not as the work of aliens or a lost species, but as the work of our own distant, magnificent ancestors. It reframes our entire identity. We are not a humble species that rose from the dust, but a great one that has forgotten its own grandeur. The giants did not vanish. They simply became us, leaving behind a profound question. If we were once so great, can we be so great again? The theory that Earth was seeded by giants reframes everything we think we know about our history. We become the inheritors of a lost kingdom, living among the ruins of a civilization so vast, its true nature has eluded us for millennia. The great megalithic sites transform into the legacy of our colossal ancestors. The global myths of giants are elevated from charming folklore to the status of fragmented historical records. They were our predecessors, our creators, our ancestors. Its true power lies in the questions it forces us to ask and the sense of wonder it reawakens within us. To consider ourselves the descendants of such beings carries a profound responsibility. The theory asks us to look at our civilization. We are now the dominant intelligence, wielding world-altering power. Maybe we have giant shoes to fill. A call to rise to a higher level. As guardians of Earth, build a future worthy of our past. The potential for greatness lies within us. The challenge is to awaken that potential, explore the furthest reaches of our story. Our history may be far more magnificent than we have been told. If you enjoyed this journey through the mysteries of our past, don't forget to hit subscribe, share this video with fellow seekers, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your curiosity fuels our quest for knowledge. Thank you for exploring with the human curious, where every question leads to a new adventure. Stay curious, stay human.